All right, time to take a look at the TechOrbits electric sit-stand desk. Now, it does say on here, do not use a razor like this, use scissors, and I assume that the reason for that is because the desktop table is going to be right here, so if I scratch that, then I'm going to ruin it. So knowing that, I'm still going to use this anyway. Well, they got great packaging. They even got corner protectors built into the foam. That's great. And this is one thing that I really like seeing with desks like these. So most desks that are electric sit-stand desks, they actually have two pieces for the table, so you have to kind of like press it together. This is all one solid piece. So this is a much better desk than the normal ones that you see. And here are the instructions. Okay, so very well detailed. They got it fully illustrated. So this looks like it's gonna be pretty easy. So this is my old sit-stand desk, and as you can see, it's got that line right in the middle. And it's not really a big deal, but if you want something better, this is gonna be a much better option. So I do like seeing that they actually put rubber washers on here, so that's gonna help to dampen everything, so you're not gonna worry as much about like vibrations or weird noises coming from it. So that's good. There we go. We're gonna need our two mounting brackets, and we're gonna need our bolts and screws. Oh, that's cool. This actually comes with a little screwdriver. That's kind of neat. Now, even though these things work great, and actually, it's got a little, this is actually a pretty nice little screwdriver, but I'm going to use the one that I prefer. So I do like they got all the hardware separated out so we know exactly what we need, and they are labeled. So this is MA, that's going to be what we're going to be using to install these brackets. So we're going to put one on this side. Is that right? Yeah, so the angle is facing out. And we'll do the same thing over here. I do like that they got these brackets all slotted so you can make sure you can get it lined up exactly how you need to. But fortunately, when you get all the bolts in there, there's not a lot of movement, so we know we are right where we need to be. So the next part is we're going to install the legs. Now this desk looks like you can kind of flip it around whichever way you want, but there are actually a couple of holes here and a couple of holes over here. So what that means is that this is the front. So we want to install the legs so that they're pointing this way and the motor is going to be on this side. All right, it says before we attach that, we're going to put in the drive line, which is this guy right here. So you can see this kind of goes in and out so you can get the exact measurement that you need. On here, we got kind of a hex side over here, and then we got a round side over here. So on the round side, inside, there's another hex, and there's a hole right here. So that hole needs to line up with the hole on the motor. So just line that up. And we're going to drop in our set screw, which is MB. And that uses the Allen MH to tighten it up. And the next step is to drop this into here. And as long as you got these two collars loose, you can move this thing in and out however you need to. And you do want this to be fairly straight. There we go. Okay, so that's in. So now I can kind of stretch this out a little bit. Now at this point, I can put these collars on, and it says in the manual to tighten it down, but I'm not going to do that just yet because I want to make sure that I've got these locked to the table before I set this length. So next we're going to grab the reinforcement, and this is going to attach to both legs so that when we tilt the legs up, we can screw into right here and screw that into the top. So these need to go on top. And this reinforcement can also expand. It's locked down right now, so I need to loosen up these screws to make that happen. For that, I'm using the other Allen, which is MI. There we go. And that is going to screw in with MC. So this was kind of confusing me, but I realized that what I did here was I had this upside down. The holes are smaller on this side than they are on this side. So what I have to do is I have to flip it around like this. So this is still on top, but I can fit this bolt through these larger size holes. And to get this started, I'm going to use a magnet. Okay, so I got those started. Before I tighten those down, I'm going to do the other side. So now I got everything started, I can go ahead and tighten those down. Okay, so now we're going to lock the legs to the table, and for that we're going to use MD. I do like that they got everything kind of in order, so the first bolt we used was over here, then this one, then this one, then this one. Clear a path, because we're going to be putting this right in the center. There we go. The one thing I'm noticing is that these holes are supposed to line up with this, but it's on the wrong side. And I checked the side of the legs. This is the only place that this can go, so the only way I'm going to be able to really make this happen is I have to take the legs and flip them around so that this lines up with this. I checked through the manual. There's nothing that's really going to interfere with that, so I'm just going to do it like that. Okay, so the motor's on the other side now, but at least this is properly lining up. And I would rather have this thing be properly supported than the motor be on this side. So these bolts were already installed in this arm, so all I was doing was I was lining up those two holes to make sure that this is properly centered. And then now we can attach these bolts. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. So now we're going to use ME to screw that to the table. Okay, but now we know that this is the proper length, everything is correct, so I can start tightening up all these lockdowns and these collars. There's a little hole right here, so I'm just going to push it through there so that it grabs onto this hex shaft. Okay, so that's going to hold that together, and do the same thing for this one. And those are going to attach with MF. To help me get these tight, I just grabbed a little wrench. Okay. Okay, so we're about done. We just got to put on a couple of little things. So this is the tray organizer, and we're going to use our last screws for that, which are MG. And what this tray is going to do is it's going to give us a spot where we can put all of our cords and stuff. So the last thing is the cords and stuff. So we got our power supply, and we got our controller. Power plugs into the power supply, and we got a clip. So you can see we got two different size pins. So we're going to drop that in here, and then clip it shut. And the other side connects to our motor. It can only go in one way, so just press it in until it clips. And then we use our last two screws, which are the same screws that we used for here, so there was 4 of them. And we can either put the controller in right here, or we can put it on the other side. So you have to decide which side do you want your buttons to be on. Now I usually like having the buttons on the right, so I'm going to put it here. And when I flip the table over, it will be on the right. So the last thing is just going to be the cable management. So you probably don't want the cord rubbing on this shaft as it spins, so I'm going to put it on this side of the motor. I'm going to put it over here. Now, we do have these zip ties, or cable ties. So to make sure that these wires aren't getting in the way, I'm just going to peel the adhesive. I'll stick that to the table. And then I can clip this down. And we'll do the same thing with this one. Okay, I do have 3 more, so we can do whatever kind of cable management you want to with that. But that's it. We are fully assembled. Now I did notice that we have some leveling feet, so if your floor is uneven, we can use these things to make sure that you got your table level. And they are threaded, and that is an M8 threading, M8 by 1.25. So if you want to, you could get some casters like this. You just have to make sure that you're using an M8 by 1.25 thread. You can screw that in, and then you can roll this desk around. Now, I'm just going to flatten that out. And it does stick out just above the metal, so I don't have to worry about that scratching the floor. But I think I am going to lift it up just a little bit. And I do have to say, I really like this one-piece top. That just looks a lot better. Okay, so I got it plugged in. I really like that it's got a reading telling you right where you're at. That is actually quite a bit faster than I was expecting. So yeah, that's quite tall, right? So I'm a fairly tall person, And this is an extremely comfortable height for me. I love this. This is perfect. Oh, that's cool. Looks like we got a couple of presets. That's nice. So I can just hit the button and walk away. When I come back, it'll already be right where I want it. Nice. Is that max? Yep, that's max. We also have a set button, so if I want to change one of these, so for example, if I'm going to be working on my car on this, so if I do put the casters on so I can wheel it up to my car, and I got it right at a point where it's just above my hood so I can put all my tools and stuff on there. I don't have to reach down or up. I'm going to have it right at the height that I want. And hit set 2. So right now it's at 90.4. If I bring it down to the bottom, and then if I hit 2, I can start wheeling that over to my car. By the time I get there, it's at 90.4. So yeah, that's perfect. That's awesome. This is a very nice table, and I can't say enough, I love that solid top. So that is great. I am very happy to have that.